Can you see me? There you
Okay.
go.
Yeah, there we go. I can see you.
There you go. There he go. There he go. There he go. What up, King?
What's up, bro? How you feeling, man?
Man, I'm doing good. I'm glad to see my bro ham.
Yeah, my bro ham, man. Yes,
Yeah.
it's good to see you. Can't thank you enough for being here, bro.
Oh man, look at your teeth all white and pretty. You got your teeth all polished for your new book.
You know, I had to get them pearly white. You know what I'm saying?
Come on for your new book. Come on for your new book, White Teeth. Ladies and gentlemen, I am so excited to be here. Oh man, you know, there's such a need, brothers and sisters, for us to have a light in these tumultuous times. You know, we're always trying to find something to give us just a time out from all the negativity, from the darkness, trying to find our way and trying to navigate through this new normal and trying to find just a peace in the midst of these new storms, right? And there's somebody who I have labeled, he's the curator of hope, right? He's the guy that is always going to tap into the glass being half full. That's why he's on earth. That's why God has created him, because he has been the guy that from his own life testimonies, y'all, his own life story, he's the person that we can be able to trust, that he's going to be able to find a line of hope in the midst of every circumstance that we may find ourselves in. And so it is an honor to have a conversation with this brother, because I know him to be consistent in that space. He's one that never fails when you give him the ball. He's always going to run it into the end zone. He's that guy. He's a motivational speaker, New York Times bestselling author. Oprah loves him. Ryan Seacrest loves him. Hollywood loves him. I mean, he's done about 750 million movies, you know, and wonderful guy, married guy, just a great thinker and a great person of faith. And also he's the president and CEO of LaCia, Light-Skinned Entrepreneurs of America. Or should I say light-skinned did. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome to this incredible conversation and this incredible book that he has right now, that he has in his soul, that he's going to give us. It's going to be available to everybody May 4th. Some of you guys are going to get your signed copies of Live Free will be mailed following the event, and to expect them in 1 to 2 weeks. Okay, expect them. If they don't make it, that means that the mailman stole it because he loved DeVon so much. He wants your book, so you got to go chase him down. Get your book back from the mailman, because he loved DeVon Franklin too. Ladies and gentlemen, please, the author of Live Free, DeVon Enrique Abdul Franklin Jr. the third.
Man, listen, this is why you are who you are, man. I love it, bro. What's up, man? Thank you for being here, man. It's good to see you, man. It's like God just made you this way. You just crazy. That's just who you are.
I'm just off. I know. I'm just off. I'm just off, and I'm happy to be that way.
That's all right.
To be off.
That's all right. That's all right, man. I'm just glad to know you, my brother.
D. What did you see? What did you experience? What did you feel in the atmosphere that you felt pregnant with another book to be able to speak to the opposite of freedom is in bondage? So what did you see people in bondage to? What did you see people slave to, that you saw a need to speak freedom to something that you saw was not happening within the ethos of people's lives?
Yeah,
or
you
ethos,
know, yeah, no, man, I appreciate the question. I mean, I think it all started, honestly, what was going on inside of me. Here's a testimony. Testimony sometimes implies a positive result. That's not, let me just give you a story, not a testimony.
Talk to me.
After the last book, I wrote a book called The Truth About Men. And that book came out, and it was like, I did The Truth About Men in February. And then in April, I did my movie Breakthrough. They both came out about 60 days from each other. And so I was working my, tail off, working my butt off, doing all this press, traveling the country, book signings and, cities and almost every major city, Breakfast Club, 2 hits on the Today Show, just doing it all.
Yeah.
And the book did not sell according to my expectation.
Okay.
I go from that. I'm promoting this movie, promoting Breakthrough, traveling the country with Chrissy Metz and doing everything I can do. The movie opens well, but not to my expectation.
Mm.
And I came out of that devastated, frustrated, disappointed. And I started to think, why do I keep having these seasons of disappointment? Why do I keep having these seasons of frustration? The work is good. People are enjoying it. To your point about curating hope, people are getting hope from the things that I do.
Yeah.
But the result wasn't resonating. And I realized, oh, I got an expectation problem.
Wow.
There's nothing wrong with God. There's nothing wrong with what I'm doing. My expectations are robbing my joy. My expectations are taking my contentment. And after Truth About Men, I was so disappointed. I said, I'm never writing again. Not doing it. It's too much. I'm not doing it. And as I started to get in touch with this expectation and this frustration, a new idea, this live free idea started to be birthed in me, where I said, oh, got it. I'm not reacting to the events of my life. I'm reacting to the expectations of my life. I'm not reacting to the people in my life. I'm reacting to my expectations of these people. I'm not reacting to myself and my success. I'm reacting to my expectations of success. And bro, once I got that revelation, I said, oh, so what would happen if I either released the expectation or I changed it? Immediately, it changed how I felt about everything. So that was the genesis. And as people started coming to me for help, I started realizing, oh, I'm not the only one struggling in this area. Having these unset expectations is completely disrupting our very existence. And that's what birthed this idea of, and I had this idea even before the pandemic, and it just so happened that the pandemic hit and it really brought the idea to life. But that was the genesis of really trying to reconcile my own personal discontent, frustration, anger, and disappointment, and realizing it had nothing to do with people, nothing to do with events, nothing to do with God, everything to do with my expectations of all of the above.
And what is amazing is that if you hadn't had those expectations, or if you hadn't had those experiences, we would not have another book. That if everything was popping off, then we wouldn't get a chance to now get a snapshot into the private life of what it is to war, and to deal with. Maybe a subtitle could even be Revamped Expectations.
Right.
Right. Which we all have to deal with, those revamped expectations. And it does not mean that we are lowering the bar for ourselves. No. It means that we are reconstructing the DNA of our ideas.
Yes, and that's why I wrote the book, because it's not about having no expectations. It's about resetting and learning the power of setting expectations, which is very different than not having expectations, because you got to have expectations. Yes. I'm sure we'll get to it. You got to have hope. One thing that you just said that made me think of something that you have actually said in the past. One of you know me, I always talk about you in terms of just your genius, and you never like to acknowledge it. I know, but exactly. You're so genius, But here's one of the videos that you did, which I love. You did a video. It seemed very impromptu. You were in the studio and you were talking about the different ingredients to making cake. And you were talking about, nobody would take an egg and eat an egg, and nobody would take the oil and drink the oil. Nobody would take the cake mix and just eat the cake mix dry. But when you mix all that together, all those ingredients aren't good independently, but they work together to form what is good. And so you're right. Like, if I hadn't had these disappointments and I hadn't had these frustrations, I would have never had the ingredients to bake up this book. So I receive what you're saying, and a lot of what I've experienced is a result of me being able to talk about these things, because I've been living them.
And so how did that set you free?
Oh man, listen. So the process of setting expectations is the process of getting free. So for those that are in here tonight and you don't know what it means to live free, let me define it real quick. Here is the definition of living free. When you and I live free, it means we are not under the emotional, physical, or mental control of anyone or anything. That's living free, right? So how do we get to the place where we live free? We have to set expectations for ourselves. That means anything that I am expecting, it's of my choosing, not because it's being imposed onto me by others.
Okay.
What we realize, what I began to realize is most people are not actually even living their life. They're living the life that others expect of them. What their church wants them to do, what their spouse wants them to do, what their parents want them to do. If they have kids, what their kids want them to do, what their race wants them to do, what their gender wants them to do. And then you get to the place and you say, well, why is nobody happy? Because nobody's actually living, period.
Yeah.
Everyone's just doing what's expected. So the process of living free is to say, wait a minute, I got to take the power back here. I got to take the control back. I got to start figuring out what is the life that I want to live. It's not that taking outside expectations is wrong. It's if those expectations are not of your choosing. This is why you got to ask two questions to set your expectation. One, is it realistic or unrealistic? How do you know? Is it in your control? Two, is it spoken or unspoken? Meaning, if it involves someone else, do you have to communicate your expectation? Because so often we have these unspoken expectations of people, and then we get mad when they don't meet them, and then we judge them and we vilify them, but they may have never known to begin with. So this is the process of getting free and setting expectations.
So then let me ask you this, bro. In a world of analytics and data and research and numbers, how do you live free from those harsh realities when it comes to trying to quantify your dreams and ideas with people that depend on those analytics and the data and the numbers and the research and the followers and the views and all this other stuff that almost makes you feel like a bipolar human? How do you live free in the midst of all of these painful, ugly realities?
Yes. Okay. Here's how you do it. So in the professional section of the book, because the book is separated into 4 sections. There's the personal, the cultural, the relational, and the professional. All of the 4 main areas in which we have to set expectations. In the professional section, I have this chapter where I say, the process is the result. So here's what I mean by that. Directly relates to your question. In a time of analytics and everybody is analyzing social media followings, and in your case, how many streams did you get, and how did the radio play and the downloads and all this kind of stuff. When we are not living free, we're caught up in the matrix and we're trying to control something we don't control. What is that? No matter how hard you try, you or any other artist cannot force someone to listen to what you've created. Impossible. That is what I call the result. Did someone stream the song? Let's use this as an example. Did someone stream the song? Nobody has control over that. Nobody.
Yeah.
Okay, so what actually can we control? The process. The process of creating the music, the process of creating the project, the process of your disposition, how you show up every day. What is your attitude? What is the process that you put around the marketing, the publicity, the team that you hire? Those are all within your control. So when we control the soil, we control what type of fertilizer we put in the soil. We control what type of water. We can control how often we water that soil. We can control how often we give it sunlight. And when we fertilize the process, we then let the result be what it is.
Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you why that's so dope. What he's saying is one of my first trips, DeVon, to Los Angeles when the Why We Sing album came out. We drove from Fort Worth to Los Angeles, which is a long trip. And so we left Texas late, right? And it took us a long time to get there because we left late and we were rushing to get to California. By the time we got to LA, the promoter asked us, he said, Kirk, how did you like that trip? And I didn't understand what he meant. He was like, man, what did you think of the desert? And what did you think of the sunset over the desert? And I was like, huh? He was like, man, you didn't see the beautiful, he just how beautiful the stars were at night when you were driving. I was like, man, I ain't seen no stars. He said, Kirk, you did not see the sun rising over those mountains as you were driving? I said, no, I didn't see no sun. I didn't see no stars. I didn't see no. He said, bro, you did not see all the beauty. I was so busy trying to get there that I missed all the beauty of the journey. So what I think you're saying in your book is that what you can control is in the process. There's so much beauty, development, relationships, experiences, maturity. And so you become a beneficiary of the gift that you've been loaned.
Yeah, you become a beneficiary of the gift. And here's something that's really important. And this is a very important distinction. And it's hard to do. I gotta say it.
Give it to me.
When we live free, we separate our identity from our gifting. Because why is this so important, man? Because we start to get confused with who we confuse who we are with what we do.
Yeah, buddy.
So what happens is when we're trying to control the process, right? It's like, and the thing about it is we need to be okay with the result. Why? Because if our identity is tied up in a certain result.
Yeah, buddy. Yeah, buddy.
And that result does not manifest.
Yes.
Not only are we devastated because we were disappointed, but then we doubt God's creation, which is us.
Oh.
Yes.
Now I'm acting like a horse yak. Mr. Carter. So help me then with this, because this is one thing that as your brother, I deal with privately.
Yes.
I crash with disappointment. Like disappointment causes me to roll up in a ball. And it's like, I don't do well with disappointment. So like if something doesn't come through, like that's why I don't like hearing all people get excited about possibilities for me. If somebody's coming back, oh, this project's gonna do this, that's gonna do that. I don't do well with that, because if it doesn't live up to that and it disappoints, I crash. How can you help somebody like me become more free when it comes to the reality that when things don't go the way that I'm hoping for or what other people are hoping for me, when it doesn't happen, how can I live free of this crash? Please help me.
I will, absolutely. So tell me, why do you crash? What is the crashing about?
The crashing is about because my identity is still in those things. I have put my acceptance or rejection in how those things do.
There it is. So then in those moments, you are being controlled emotionally by what does or doesn't happen. There it is, as the world turns. Right? Because, but Kirk, okay, so I don't look. I love this. You and I are just having a conversation. So what you just did, you did freely with no expectation. It was in you. You already had the ability because God has created you do certain things that just come naturally. That's the freedom that we all need to bring to whatever we do.
That's dope. That's dope.
It was an impulse. I just did it. I didn't go thinking, oh snap, am I going to play this right? Is it going to get streamed? Is it going to get 1 billion downloads? How's the hook? How's the melody? How's the label going to think about this? No, I just freely went and did. Wow. And guess what? Everyone in the chat, oh, Kirk, that's so dope. Oh, wow. Because as it was freely given, it was freely received.
Okay. So then let me ask you this one then, since you're on a wave right now and you are killing it, ladies and gentlemen, Live Free. You got to get this book, May 4. It's going to be incredible. He wrote it out of his own therapy, own healing, and that's why you know it's going to have so much heat to it, because he's not just thinking off the top of the head. He's walking through this with y'all, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, social media contributes to the pressure of cultural expectations. How do we deal with this and not throw these phones off the cliff? Because social media is making everybody crazy.
I know, brother.
Listen, social media, the pandemic, multiple pandemics that are contemporaneous. How do we live through all of this? We're doing Zooms, we dressed up front, but we got our drawers on at the bottom. Some of us are butt naked because we crazy during this pandemic. How do we get back our freedom, especially the way social media and society keeps moving us to a space that it keeps us in bondage? And I'm gonna be like this. Help me.
Okay.
Talk to me, DeVon.
All right. So let's just, again, we're talking about setting expectations, right? We have to identify what's in our control and what needs to be communicated. So the first thing, what's in our control? What is in our control is what we post. What's in our control is what we look at when we scroll. Mm-hmm. What's not in our control is who watches what we post and who likes what we post. Mm-hmm. Now, let's go a step deeper for a minute. Instagram, Facebook is owned by Mark Zuckerberg, and Facebook bought Instagram. Tomorrow, Mark Zuckerberg decides, you know what? I'm done shutting the whole thing down.
Yeah.
So what happens? All of our value goes out the window because he decided to shut it down?
That's good, bro. That's good.
So we associate, there's a whole chapter I talk about this, about fake goals. As a matter of fact, because too often we use social media.
Give me some of that.
We create fake goals. These goals that look real, but they're not. God is going to do through you or through me what he wants to do if we allow him, whether we have 1 follower or 1 million.
Yeah.
And when we get into that understanding that, oh, let me have fun with social media. Mm-hmm. Let me just enjoy it. It doesn't mean, it has nothing to do with our value. Nothing.
Yeah.
Like Kirk, I'm not just talking about something that like, oh, it just sounds philosophical. Good, right? So up until last month, I had 1.5 million followers, 1.5 million followers on Instagram. And then for some reason I looked up and it went down to 1.4. And in that moment, dude, it rocked me. I'm like,
I know it. Yeah, it's crazy.
What am I doing? Did I do something wrong? And did they change the algorithm? What is what's wrong? Like, and for a day or two, it shook me.
Yeah.
And then it was, God was like, what is wrong with you? Do you think I'm keeping tabs of your followers? Do you think on the rolls in heaven, I am keeping a record of how many people you got on this man-made algorithm, this man-made software? Do you think that has anything to do with your value? And the fact that it's hurting you so much is the reason why your followers are leaving, because you care about it too much. You got to live and let go.
So DeVon, I got to ask you this then.
Please.
Is the freedom in living free, as the book says, how much is your freedom for some of your fans and followers and supporters and those that subscribe to your content that may not necessarily subscribe to your belief system? How much is your freedom wrapped into your monotheistic ideals, your posture? It seems that your freedom is also connected to something that is bigger than the tangibles. Yeah. So if it's bigger than the tangibles, how do you invite people to subscribe to that without them uh, feeling like they are subscribing to a religious ideal, or it being proselytized by a book that is really hiding something that is not truistic in its stance, but still you are giving them nuggets that are birthed out of this decision of your posture being bigger than what you see now.
Yeah.
But because, as one of my heroes says, if what you see is all you see, then you do not see all there is to be seen. So then how is live free connected to a bigger belief system, and how do you maneuver through that?
Okay, great. So I'm a Christian as you are a Christian. We are committed, and we have committed our lives to Christ. And the scripture that says, "Who the Son sets free is free indeed." So
Mm-hmm.
we believe that, we live by that. So number one, if the death and resurrection and sacrifice of Jesus set us free, why would I willingly become imprisoned by anyone else's thoughts or opinions? Now, how does that relate to the answer of your question? Because I feel, this is just DeVon talking, this is my feeling. We as Christians, quote unquote believers, care a little too much about what those that don't believe like we believe think.
Let me tell you something. That's just not how you feel. Where the camera at? Where the camera at? Let me tell y'all something, ladies and gentlemen. That boy preaching, ladies and gentlemen. Do you see these lips on me? Do you see me, ladies and gentlemen? That boy preaching.
Oh, good. Here's for example.
Yes, Negro.
For example, recently, the artist named Montero, otherwise known as Lil Nas X, released a song that featured imagery that some associate with Satanism. He released a shoe that had 666 on it, the pentagram, and supposedly human blood in the bubble of the shoe. And guess what? Was he overly concerned about how his Old Town Road audience was going to react, which is the Old Town Road, one of the biggest records in the history of the music business, which had a tremendous crossover appeal to the young and old alike.
Yes.
So, was he concerned overly about the expectations of that audience? Was he overly concerned about what the religious folks were going to say?
No.
Now, again, I don't know him. I don't know what his intent, his heart is. I'm not defending it either way. But here's where I go. If Lil Nas X can be that bold about his statement as an artist,
it's good, man.
Why do we wrestle with being bold with our statements about Christ?
That's good.
I don't know how to do it. I've been in Hollywood 25 years. From the day that I got into Hollywood, I was clear. Hey, I believe in Jesus. I observe the Sabbath. I'm not going to compromise that. From that day to this day. So I don't know. I don't think too much about it. What I am mindful of is making sure that, and I talk about this in the book, and this is where I think a lot of sometimes us in the church get it mixed up. Our expectations should not become the standards that we impose on others to live by. Our expectations are our expectations. And when we own that and we have freedom in that, then we allow others to be free to set their own expectations and have their own standards for how they should live.
So then, like you said, you've been in Hollywood. There are a lot of people that follow you because they want to get the nuggets of how to get into the business. They're trying to figure out how to just maneuver through their dreams and ideas. And so how much do you think pop culture, TV, movies, books contribute to the myth of the perfect relationship, the perfect life, the perfect health, the perfect haircut, just the perfect marriage, the perfect teeth? You see DeVon's teeth, they white, you know what I'm saying? They're not mother of pearl. How do you how do you help people that sometimes buy into the myth of perfection, which keeps them a prisoner and not being free?
Oh my goodness. I think that first of all, Hollywood, movies, TV, music play a tremendous role in these expectations that we have. So this idea, it's like we watch these movies and we think, oh my goodness, oh, I just gotta, love and I gotta get married and do all these things. And there's nothing wrong with those things, right? But
Yeah.
to your point about your trip from Texas to California, that if we aren't enjoying the journey of life, you can get into the right relationship, you can get into the right marriage and be miserable.
Yeah, buddy.
Why? Because you have not actually enjoyed the process.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So Hollywood projects this myth, in this romantic comedies and oh, life always is going to be roses. No, that's not the case. When we set expectations for ourselves, what we learn is, oh, I got to be the keeper of my happiness.
I love it. I love it.
I gotta set the expectation for myself. So whatever I bring to a relationship or whatever I bring to life, I'm not asking life to do something for me I ain't doing for myself. I'm not asking my partner to do something for me that I'm not doing for myself.
I love it.
I love me so I can evaluate how you love me.
I love it. I love it. As I tell people all the time, after being married myself for 25 years, I have learned that Tammy cannot do some things that only Jesus was created to do for me.
Come on.
That there's some things there's some expectations that we put on people that it has to do with our faith. Our faith is supposed to fulfill some needs that a human can never feel. That there's some things that we want people to do that people were not created to do. I do have this question for you. In this book about living free and the thing about fake goals, I love this thing about fake goals is because one thing that I've always seen people do is just like you. I'm quite sure you've had so many pitches where somebody got an idea that they want to play, a 2021 version of Jesus in a spaceship with some Prince boots on. And you like, well, no, that ain't gonna sell. And then they always say this, well, God gave me the idea. And, and when people say that, the conversation is over with for me. Right. Or like somebody will sing a song and they're singing a song, they're trying to audition and they singing about 5 or 6 keys. And I'm like, baby, that ain't your gift. Or somebody like me, I may have a desire to play in the NBA. But DeVon, I'm 5'4". Right. I'm 5'4". I don't care how much I desire to play in the NBA. I don't care how expensive my shoes are. I don't care if Jordan himself is my coach.
Right.
There is an issue that I want you to talk about capacity. I do not possess the capacity. I may have the dream and the desire, sure. Yes. But it does not mean that I possess the capacity. That's How right. do you help people live free without giving them real truth that makes them again a prisoner?
Okay, great. So the truth will set us free.
Come on now.
That is an actual spiritual law. That is the word of God. You shall know the truth.
Yeah, buddy.
Truth will set you free. Now, knowing and understanding that, okay, the truth is not even so much to do to your height, but if you hadn't been pursuing this path of becoming an NBA star, at this juncture, that goal may not be realistic. Why? Because it's not in your control to do it. No matter how hard you go practice right now, you or I can never get to the level of shape to be able to compete at that level, right? So we only become a prisoner to that which we fail to acknowledge and that which we fail to accept.
How do you get people to do that though? Because so many people will be damned if you tell them that that's not their dream. That God texts them himself and left a voice message that you're supposed to be an A-list actor or a singer or an entrepreneur when we see that the fruits of their life does not match their how do we set them free without making them a prisoner?
Yes. Well, you set them free in love. In that, this book is about love. It's all about love. There's no chastisement. We've been chastised enough. We've been judged enough. We've been ridiculed enough. There's no ridicule here. This book is all about love. And in that love, it is to put every person on their own personal journey to truth. And sometimes what happens is we get a vision and we want to worship the vision. We make that vision our God. We worship the vision. We pray to the vision. We fast
I need
for
some
the
offering money. I need some offering money. Give me offering money. Jesus.
You know that, and so what happens is we actually don't live free because the vision now has imprisoned us.
Ooh, DeVon Enrique Abdul Muhammad Gonzalez Franklin Jr. Jesus. That's so good, bro.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, just let that soak in for a minute. Let that soak in. That what this boy is saying in this book, that when your dream for you and God's dream for you collide, whose dream is going to win? And if you let the dream giver win, you are now on the path to freedom.
Exactly. And that path to freedom, my brother, and I love what you're on, because so many people are in here because they are dreamers and they have dreams, and I'm all for the dream. Like, that's a beautiful thing. I have dreams. You have dreams. So the goal is to keep dreaming. The key, though, is, and I talk about this in the book, when we talk about expectations, and I talk about this in the professional section. It wasn't enough for me, and I also want to just read this part about fake goals and real.
Read it.
Before I read it, it wasn't enough for me to have the dream to go to Hollywood. Okay, so I had a vision. It's maybe like 10 years old, 11 years old. I had a vision. Oh, I love Hollywood. I love movies. Oh, I want to go to Hollywood. I want to go make movies. That's what I want to do. Now, it's one thing to have the dream. It's another thing to wake up and look at the reality. Now, the dream then was what I followed. Okay, how do I do that? I got to get to LA. Okay, I got to get to LA, and I got to go to school in LA, and I got to get an internship. Why did I want an internship? It wasn't about experience. I wanted the internship to get confirmation.
Whoa.
Is this the dream I'm supposed to have?
Whoa. Who taught you that? Wait a minute. Wait. Hold up, Negro. Hold up. Because that's not normal.
I understand.
Because most people do the internship as a stepping stone.
Yeah.
Who taught you that? How?
Listen, I'm gonna tell you, my mother, had us in church, man, from when we were little. I mean, from the time we could sit up straight, we were in the pew. And I was one of those kids that, man, I took it seriously. I really did. I was like, yo, this is what the word of God says. That's what I want to do. And I was just into it. So in coming to Hollywood, I was very aware of my church family's concerns about me pursuing Hollywood and losing my faith. So that was something that was taught. I wasn't worried about it, but I was aware of it. Awareness is what made me want to seek out the confirmation. Hey, am I supposed to be here? Do I have the aptitude to do it? This is why when we talk about a dream and we put ourselves on a path to pursue it, we got to be open to confirmation. Here's reality. When we're on the path, when we're on the path where we're supposed to be, God gives us confirmation all the time.
Yeah.
You think about it. If you decided that you were not going to become a world-class musician and you were going to pursue basketball, you would have
it would be a hot mess.
It'd be a mess. But you would have gotten no confirmation. None.
Doesn't
matter how. Maybe What happens when we misinterpret the dream as something we're supposed to pursue versus something we're supposed to enjoy? Maybe
Yeah.
what you see is like, oh, I'm just supposed to enjoy basketball. I can
Yes.
go play it. I can go do
Yeah.
pickup games, but that's not what I'm supposed to do for my destiny.
And I can like play with the little kids leagues and stuff. Go ahead.
Exactly.
Go ahead.
When we're on the path to destiny, we get confirmation. So when we are seeking truth, let the truth confirm where we're supposed to go. And they're telling us we need to get to questions from the audience. Let me just read this for 2 seconds.
Go ahead.
Chapter 13. Fix your goal. I'm only going to read the first part of it. Pilots learn a lesson about flying that also applies to life. It's called the 1 in 60 rule. If you are off by just 1 degree in your flight coordinates, after traveling 60 miles, you'll be 1 mile off course. This may not seem like a big deal, but consider the following. If you were traveling from San Francisco to Los Angeles and you're just 1 degree off in your coordinates, once you get to Los Angeles, you would be 6 miles off. Not so bad, okay? But let's say you go from San Francisco to Washington, D.C. You'd end up on the other side of Baltimore, 42.6 miles off. Let's say you took a rocket to the moon. You would be 4,169 miles off. Let's say you're heading toward the sun. You would miss the sun by more than 1.6 million miles. Let's say you're traveling to the nearest star. You'd be off course by more than 441 billion miles. Do you see how being even 1 degree off can make a tremendous difference in your life? That's why we set expectations. Because if you and I have too many unset expectations, we will create fake goals. Goals that look good, but they aren't good.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the president of the Light-Skinned Entrepreneurs of America, did you hear this genius? Did you hear what this brother gave us? That was a nugget. That is a nugget for life, y'all. That was so good. Ladies and gentlemen, we have some questions. And this is so good. Okay, so what is a literal action that I can begin to do to live free?
Okay, great. So the literal action right now is to make the decision to do so. That I've experienced too much pain living the life that everybody else wants me to live, and I am now ready to live free. First and foremost, I have to make the decision. Second of all, you got to read the book, because the whole book is going to help you do it right this very second. Third of all, you go easy on yourself. Stop being such a critic of yourself.
Be kind to yourself.
Be kind to yourself. If you know you got to live, be patient. Yeah. It's all right. You're going to be there. Give yourself time. There's a lot of things and a lot of situations you're in that you may have to unwind, a lot of conversations you may have to have. As long as you have the awareness and the commitment, give yourself the time to walk it out.
How can I succeed? And I like this one. How can I succeed in my career and in relationships at the same time? I feel like it's one or the other.
Okay. What we believe is what we receive. Our receiving system is connected to our believing system. So the person that has that belief that, oh, how can I be successful in a relationship, in my career? There's a belief system that's saying that you can't. So your receiving system is reflecting your believing system. According to your faith, be it unto you. The first thing you got to know is that your love of your passion in your career and your love of a relationship can coexist. And you can no longer have the expectation that one is going to fight with the other. Where it becomes important in a relationship, this is why the second part of setting expectations is about communication. In a relationship, learn the power of communicating. Hey, here's how I live. My career is important, but you're important to me. What's your expectation of time? What's your expectation of commitment? Use your ability to communicate.
Yeah.
in a
Yeah.
relationship. So yes, you can do it successfully as long as you communicate and you change your belief system that it can't be done.
Somebody said, I can't help but look at things as the glass is half empty. I feel that it's me being realistic about life, but I want to be the person to see the glass half full. What tips can you offer me to be a more positive thinker? That is so real for me too. So help both of us.
Right. So right now I'm drinking this Gatorade, right? So what is the key? So some of it's gone, right? So let me do it real quick. So right now, it represents the analogy. Is it half empty or half full?
Mm-hmm.
Depends on my vantage point. Man, that looks
Mm-hmm.
cool to me. So how do you change? You got to change your perspective on how you're looking at it.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times when we think something is half empty, it's because we feel empty. We got to change how we look at ourselves.
That's good, man.
We got to change how we look at our capacity. We got to change how we look at our capability. And the way that we look at ourselves will help change our perspective on how we're looking at life.
I love that. I'm trying to get to some more. Can y'all put some more questions on here? I'm trying to see about some more questions.
I got someone that just add a question. Let me throw one in.
Yeah.
Okay. Amory Rigby says, why is being kind to yourself important, and how can we learn that? And for me, being kind to yourself, the scripture says, love your neighbor as yourself. Love your neighbor as yourself. Love your neighbor in what measure? In the measure you love yourself. Be kind to your neighbor in the measure you're kind to yourself. So why is being kind to yourself important? Because it's really hard to be kind to others when you're not first kind to yourself. And how can you learn it? You learn it by appreciating the creation that you are. God created you. You are amazing. You are capable. You are talented. You are incredible. Be kind to them.
Yeah.
Treat that person well. And don't allow yourself to talk to yourself worse than you'd allow somebody else.
Here's a good one. How do you align your expectations with God's expectations for you? That's from Aaron. Or from Aaron.
Aaron, I love it.
I can never get that name right. Aaron. Yeah.
Aaron, double A. Here's this is great question. And I have a whole chapter in the book where I talk about faith is the real sixth sense. I love the movie The Sixth Sense. The movie is powerful, but the movie is fictitious. But the faith is the real sixth sense. So how do you align your expectations with your expectations of God? One, you got to go back and ask the question, okay, what am I expecting? And is it within my control to expect? I use an analogy in the book to explain this question, to answer this question. I'll give it very quickly. In the book of Acts, the beggar is put at the beautiful gate to beg every day. Peter and John are going into the temple. He says, hey, can I have some money? They say, look at us. They look at him. He looks up and says, and they say, money we do not have, but what we do have, we'll give you in the name of Jesus. And they pick him up and he walks. He's able to walk. He gets healed. In that scenario, how was the beggar able to discern the expectation of God? He had to have faith. He had to stay in position, and he had to keep showing up. Sometimes we don't know what God's expectation is in certain situations until we have the faith to put ourselves in a position to receive it. The reason why I subtitled the book, Exceed Your Highest Expectations, is because I know we serve a God that specializes in that.
Yeah.
God always does better than what we think when we allow him to guide us, to show us, and to direct our path.
I have a question from Jeffrey, and Jeffrey, we're really proud of you to ask this question. I think that it's a great question that a lot of people want to know at times, and it's not even there's not even a judgment on you even about the question because you're part of family, brother. What about if you don't believe in God?
Okay, God still believes in you.
That's dope.
That's all right. Yeah, it's cool. God, and also these principles. Here's the beauty of the principles. That the principles work no matter what your belief system is. These principles of setting expectations and identifying what's in your control and what isn't, learning to communicate, those principles are going to help you live free right now, even if you do not have the same spiritual belief that I or Kirk may have? It's a great question.
Yeah, what we call that, Brother Jeffrey, in apologetics is subjective morality. That means that even if you may not even believe, God loves you so much that you get some of the sprinkles yourself, bro. So you get the drips, even if you're not even in the rain. If you don't believe in the rain, you still get the drips. So keep on dreaming, Jeffrey. Let's see. Okay, DeVon, you brought up a very good point about social media. If 1 follower versus 1 million followers, how do you keep pushing to start that business when your closest friends and family don't support? How do you push past that mindset and not let it take you down the path of quitting if the people around you don't believe in you?
Oh my, it's so interesting. It's a very interesting question because implied in that is an expectation. I expect those that love me to support me. I expect those that love me to believe in me.
Come on, Dave.
And what happened? Oh my goodness, they don't love me. They don't believe in me. Well, no, God didn't consult with them to give you.
Come on, Dave.
God didn't submit the vision for your life to the board of your family to get a vote. So sometimes the fact that they don't support you is maybe even evidence that that's the thing that you need to do. What I have learned, man, listen, my older brother Ray taught me this, bro. I was in elementary school, and Ray would always help me with my my math homework. And Ray would always help me with my math homework. And one day he was on the phone after school with his girlfriend, and he was not helping me with my math homework, and I was mad. I was upset. He's my older brother. He's supposed to help me. I don't understand why he's not helping me. And I sat on that couch and I pouted. I was upset. And then it dawned on me. Tomorrow, I got to go into class and I'm going to be accountable for my assignment. I cannot say when the teacher asks, why didn't you do the assignment? Oh, my brother didn't help me.
Yeah. That's good.
So what I did was, man, I sat down, I did the work, and guess what? I got a C on the assignment.
That's good.
But I learned the value that it was my responsibility, not anyone else's responsibility to believe in me or support me. So I encourage whoever asked that question to go anyway, to seek confirmation anyway. Don't allow those that don't believe in you to disrupt your belief in you.
Yes, that is so good. I hope that you got that, my friend. This is from Eric. How can someone who is ready to live within their purpose live free, but yet they're still in development hell?
That's a book, Produced by Faith. Yes,
I love that.
Development hell. When you are in development hell, so in Produced by Faith, that's all about, that section of the book is when, you're in that development place where you're starting to doubt, the future of your career, of your ideas, all of it. The way to live free is to surrender and say, I'm going to go through it. This isn't what I expected, but I can control how I respond. I can control my surrender. I can control my attitude. There's a whole lot happening that I don't understand, but God, not my will, but yours be done. That's how you live free, even in development hell. You release your firm grip on what you want to happen when, and you allow God to do what only he can do. And you show up every day with a positive attitude. You find things to be grateful for. Even when things are not going the way you want, you can always find something to be grateful for. Before you go ahead.
No, it's good. Come on.
Before you go down the rabbit hole of despair, I encourage people, I talk about this in the book, just take 60 seconds of gratitude. Before you start to be disappointed and upset, just take 60 seconds and find as many things to be grateful for as you can. And I'm not talking about lofty things. I'm so glad I got underwear on today.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that my teeth are brushed. I'm so glad I just had some gum. I'm so glad that, just find, because when you start to be grateful, it's hard to be down. And when you're going through a tough season, you can still be in gratitude, knowing it's going to pass.
So there are 4 parts to the book, right?
Yeah.
Give me again, give me a quick snapshot of what I can experience in every part of the book. Give me the 4 nuggets that I know that I will be able to walk away from in these different parts of the book.
Sure. The 4, so there's the personal expectations, which are expectations we have of ourselves. There are cultural expectations, which are the expectations that others have of us. There are relational expectations, which are the expectations that we have inside of a relationship or a friendship. And then there's the professional expectations, which is what we expect of our career and what our career expects of us. And these are the four main areas that we have to set expectations. Personally, we've been doing a lot of that work tonight, setting expectations for yourself and resisting the temptation to allow anyone else's expectation to be your expectation. There was a question that came through from Juliet that I want to use to answer, to talk about the personal expectations. She said this, let's say this. What do you tell our parents, friends, and partners about why we can't accommodate their expectations instead of our own? What do you tell our parents, friends, and partners about why we can't accommodate their expectations instead of our own? So talk about personal expectations. It's all right. It's all right. When we talk about personal expectations, it's not that expectations that come from the outside are inherently bad. They're not. They're only bad when we are living by them and they're not in our heart to do that. When we feel obligated to do what our parents want us to do what our friends want us to do what the pastor or the church wants us. When we feel obligated, we then find ourselves obligated out of the opportunity to live free. So how do we handle being able to, telling our friends or parents or spouses, you might have to have some tough conversations, because if they have become addicted to your compromise, they have become addicted to your accommodation. When you and I get free and say, hey, I can't live like this no more. I can't keep doing these things for you that are not in my heart to do. They may have something to say about it. They may push back. They may talk against you. They may get upset. That's their issue, not yours. Amen. The same way, if you were in prison and you could get out, the same way you want your freedom physically, you got to pursue your freedom emotionally, and spiritually and mentally. So that's how I would talk about personal expectations. And then you got the cultural ones, which is similar, right? Like do it for yourself, not the culture. The relational expectation piece is really about communication. We got to communicate with our partner. We cannot expect that just because they love us, they can read our mind. They cannot. We have to communicate. And professionally, we've talked a lot about that tonight, but professionally, it's about looking at the process as the result. And also, one thing I'll say, if you or somebody's watching and they're getting a check, a direct deposit from their job, and they can't stand the job, give the check back. Why? Because every time you get a check, it comes with expectations. And if you don't like the expectations of the job, give the money back. Don't take it. Do not take it. And if you want to get promoted, listen, and if you want to get promoted, it does not come from meeting the expectations of your job. It comes from exceeding the expectations of your job. The only reason why I have my own company now and I'm producing my own movies is that for 10 years, I was an executive and I specialized in exceeding the expectations of my boss. Whatever they wanted, I did more than that. Whatever they needed, I provided extra. Why? Because that was the path to promotion and that was the path to service.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want to wrap it up here because I don't know how we can get it more good and gooder without just sitting here and just getting some coffee and just reading the whole doggone book to you. But we can't do that. May 4th, you will be able to get this incredible piece of information from DeVon Franklin called Live Free. Everything you need to know, everything that you are seeking to be able to give you the context and the tools to be able to tap into that freedom that God has already given to all of his kids, even when his kids may not always feel like they're his daddy, but it don't matter because you still get the rain and the residue because of how much he loves you. And I am so honored, ladies and gentlemen, you're going to be able to get your signed book 8 to 10 business days. And we're looking for another signed copy for Live Free or other DeVon Franklin titles. Shop here with us. Want to discover more from me? Just come to the house and just hang out with me. Interested in more Barnes & Noble virtual events? See our upcoming lineup at Well, you can see it. It's a whole bunch of little bitty words, all in blue. All you gotta do is touch that thing. You touch the thing, it takes you to the thing. DeVon, leave us with the greatest takeaway from this book.
You know what? I'm actually going to read it. It'll take one moment. Here is what I want to read. If I could find it in my own book. Hold on. Don't you hate when that happens? You write something, you're like, what page did I put it? Okay, page 175. No matter where you are in life, this is what I want to leave you with. This is the love affirmation. If you've been riding with me and you've been doing the Zooms, then I want you to, hold on, what is my team saying? Oh, she wants me to mention why we have matching sweaters on. I'll tell that in a minute. All right, so here's the last thing I want to leave you with. No, we're wearing matching sweaters because when I came on the camera, Kirk was wearing that sweater. I had something different on, and I said, wait a minute, if you're gonna do the V-neck, let me go put my V-neck on so we could be V-neck twins.
He's just trying to compete with my pecs.
That's it. You know what I mean? I got, I got some pecs too. You know what I'm saying? All right. Okay. Serious. I know Barnes and Noble's like, y'all are way over time. Okay. Here's what I want to do. I want to read the love affirmation. If you are here in this Zoom and you've never done this before, I want you to repeat after me. I receive what I believe. I believe in me. I believe in love. I love myself. I am the love I want to receive. I release my anxiety. I release my fear. I release my doubt. I open my hands. I open my mind. I open my heart. I won't wait to love. I love myself now. I love my life now. I love my love now. I love my God now. I'm grateful for the love now and the love I believe is on the way. Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, first of all, you ain't ever had nobody pray with you in a sexy voice. He gave you his sexy voice when talking to Jesus. Did you see how it was kind of raspy and low? That was the saved and sexy DeVon. See, y'all don't get that saved. That's that saved and sexy. That's the I could have played some Isley Brothers up under that prayer. Ladies and gentlemen, go get the book, go get you a candle, turn the lights down and put you on a robe tonight and get ready. May 4th, I want you to read this book and enjoy yourself and be free. Thank you all for joining the great, the talented, the curator of hope, Mr. DeVon Franklin.
Thank you, my brother. I love you, man. Appreciate you and love everybody for being here.
Look, man, proud of you, Ken.
Thank you, my brother.